Uh, Welcome to the NREN session. My name is Siyabonga Peter. I'm part of SANREN, the network engineering team. Welcome to the land of Nelson Mandela. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge the leadership of SANREN, led by Mr. Sabelo Dlamini, leadership of MAREN, led by Mr. Solomon Dindi, leadership of UbuntuNet, led by Mr. Eliakim Okundi, the leadership of TENET Tanzania, led by Dr. Frank Seth. So colleagues, welcome to the land of Nelson Mandela. We are in the city of Nelson Mandela. We all know that Dr. Nelson Mandela was the face of the liberation struggle in South Africa. He was a peacemaker and a unifying force. We are in the Eastern Cape province. The other name of this province is called the Home of Legends. So I would like those colleagues that are non-South Africans to do a little bit of research to check why is this province also called the Home of Legends. So we have up until the last day of the conference to give me that answer. So we are South African NREN. The NREN stands for National Research and Education Network. We are a program of Department of Science, Technology, and Innovation, a hosted program at the CSIR. So colleagues, without wasting time, we have a lineup of speakers. They are from other NRENs in the region. They will be telling us about the impact of global research trends on regional competitiveness, whether the NRENs are supporting those initiatives, collaboration, and resource sharing among the SADC institutions. Allow me to welcome Dr. Seth to take us through the first presentation. The floor is yours. Thank you. Can you give him a round of applause, please?
Thank you, Siyabonga. I used the name Sia. I didn't know it is a Siyabonga. Yes. I don't know the meaning of Siyabonga, but it's something great. Yes. Okay. My name has been introduced. I worked the NREN for now 3 years as a CEO, but the history tells me that I was there before the beginning of the NREN. I am one of the team that composed the Constitution and the strategies, and we were there when it was born. So in the conception of the Internet, I was there as a junior engineer about 20 years ago. And it's been operational for around 18, 17 years now. So somehow I carry that in my bloodstream, so I know exactly how and it's supposed to be. So when I was given this topic, like collaboration and resources sharing among the SADC institutions, that is the key area, is the heart of the NREN, collaborations and sharing of resources. And now these resources are of different types, but the key thing is that the component of sharing is the heart of the NREN. Piece of technology here. Okay, now in the introduction, I would like to go through a few things. The introduction, the role of NRENs, the challenges that we have as NRENs, the opportunities of NRENs, and I will conclude. Okay, the collaboration and resource sharing among the institutions in the Southern Africa Development Community, which we call SADC, are vital for fostering regional integration, improving education quality, advanced research, and boosting economic growth. Now, the key thing that NRES does as the backbone of all the operation is the connectivity that will provide high capacity network infrastructure and also collaborative platforms. The other day we were discussing why we should have resources and we cannot share. So the backbone is for sharing the connectivity is for sharing resources. Most of the time we think about internet, but we have more than internet to share. And these collaborative platforms, which, for example, each institution can have different platforms, but they need to be shared because not all of us are able to develop individually. Now, in this regard, as the region, not all NRENs are equal. So some of them are lagging a little bit behind, and some of them are a little bit advanced in main fronts. So the activities which are carried by those NRENs also vary. Now, there was this important question which was asked: how many countries do we have in the SADC region? The simple answer is 16. But then how many NRENs? Now, this is a bit challenging because there are those which are full developed and those which are in some stages of development. But we can easily say 11, but some of these are a little bit now in a process of, they don't even have a particular name as NREN, but they are doing the same activities. So we could say at least 60 to 70% of the countries in the SADC region have got some sort of an NREN which is operational. Thus, we cannot ignore the importance of NRENs in this region because it's very common and its role cannot be ignored in terms of the contribution to the education and research. I listed the countries in the SADC region, beginning with Angola. Angola does not have an operational NREN, but they are in the process of doing that. They have already done some things, and a team also visited my country in Tanzania. So there is an NREN in the background in making. Some countries like South Africa, like Zambia, like Tanzania, for example, Zimbabwe, we have Malawi, we have a bit working NRENs. But as I said, at least 60% or 70% of the countries have done something. Okay, now let's go to the role. As I said earlier, the key thing here is sharing of resources. In order to share resources, the basic thing that needed is a backbone, a network between the institutions. So there should be resources and there should be a network. So number one thing that we do common for all of us is high capacity connectivity. This is very important. And if you trace back to the history of how the NRENs came into being, it started in the 60s in America. And it was in the Department of, I think it's Defense Department or something. They had their own thing, connecting their few sites, doing some research and transferring of data among themselves. Then later they thought the researchers reside in the universities. So they connected to the universities. Then later they thought, oh, we connect all the universities. So in America, that's how it started. All universities were connected back in the 60s and in the 70s and in the 80s, the thing went to the Europe. Then Europe, some organization, the big ones like Gion, then started connecting. That's how it started. And then it's spilled over to Africa, and in the whole world now we have this type of connectivity, sharing resources. The researchers want to communicate to another researcher on the other side, the other institution or the other country or the other region and so on. That's how it happened. But it started in 60s in America, and now all over the world we have the common term NREN. Okay, we have platforms. As I said earlier, we call them collaborative platforms that people need to share resources, but now through some sort of platforms. Right now, we hear a lot about EduRoam. We are using EduRoam. That's one of the platforms. EduGain, we have resources on top of it that people can share. In my country, we are blessed to have a very big country, very big. In terms of size, it's very big. But we managed to provide, for example, e-learning infrastructure for Open University of Tanzania, which is distributed all over the country, the mainland Tanzania and Zanzibar. So you can count something like over, I think, around 30 regions in Tanzania. In South Africa, you could say provinces all over the country. We provide the infrastructure for e-learning. We provide a video conferencing facility, and that's how we do it. And this we do for free. Okay. Another role is to access regional and global networks. This map, I took it from Giant website. It shows how easily we can connect the whole world using some sort of a network in the region, within the continents, and you see, that's how it is. But this is what we are doing as the NREN, from a country to the regional level to the global level. And through this type of linkages that we can share, for example, a platform in Europe. We don't have to develop our own. We share the same. And what connects us, as we heard in the morning, is identity. We provide, we have to identify ourselves as an education and research institution or an NREN, and then we can easily share resources because we can be trusted with another institution in Europe or in America or in some other place in the world because we share the common goals and we are the same people. Okay, another role of NREN is capacity building and training. We don't only share the electronic resources, but also human resources. We have, for example, in South Africa, they're very advanced in supercomputing. But if you come to Tanzania, we are still so much behind. So it's very easy that we can share among us some in form of training, building each other, sharing skills, and so on. And for my case, every time I go to an institution, I find there's some skill gap, then we know we formulate some sort of a training, and we pull a team of engineers from various universities to try to cover the gap of skill somewhere. So NRENs have been doing that all the time, trying to identify some gaps, skill gaps, and trying to train people so that we can at least be in one page as we serve the education research community. Okay, let's come to the challenges. The biggest challenge that we were solving some 20 years ago as a small team sat somewhere in Dar es Salaam, it was connectivity in the first place, before anything else. The internet was very expensive. 1 meg was around a few thousand US dollars. And I remember as an IT manager, I was joking with other friends that the whole week, very busy, but managing only 4 megabits per second for university, which is the internet for one device like this in the current times that we're talking about, 4 meg, the whole university 4 meg, 4 meg, seriously 4 meg. And there was an IT manager, very busy from morning to evening, managing 4 meg. That was 17 years ago. But you know what? The same price of 4 meg is the same price for 200 megs right now. The same price. Why? Because the entrance brought a lot of challenge to the market. We brought the prices down as much as we could. Therefore, the competitors also had no option but to go down to compete. You see? So I remember one of my biggest achievements as IT manager was to negotiate from 4 meg to 6 meg, the same price. And people were clapping at me because of addition of 2 meg to my network. So in this case, the internet was only for very few people. When you are a lecturer, like a senior lecturer, like a professor, like you are in that big office that you have an internet that you have to wait for like 2 minutes to load a page. You want to write an email, then you have to wait for 2 minutes for the page to load, and then you type in, and you remember a long time before the advancement of the Microsoft. You have something happens, then you say, you have to start again. You write the email from a scratch. Or you're doing some Word document, then you have to start again because there's autosave was not that smart as we have today. You see? Now you wait for 2 minutes for the page to load, and then something happens, some disruption, then everything goes out, and then you have to start again. So that's the struggle that you used to have. But with the help of Endurance, we have managed to solve many of these challenges. Though we still have no connection in some regions, especially in the SADC region, as I said, one of the blessings that we have is large countries, large piece of lands, broad. You can travel 2,000 kilometers from one point to another. Now, imagine you're connecting a university 2,000 kilometers away. You're within the same country. In Europe, you'll go through 5 countries. Do you see the thing? This is a challenge that we have in Africa. So we have very little resources, but we have large distances to cover. If, for example, you can take, the easy example, the road network. One road, just one road from one province to another province, from one end to the other land, could be a whole road network in some country in Europe. Now, see the challenges that we have. Now, imagine now building a fiber cable, going through the bushes, and the people who do not understand what fiber is, sometimes there's a bushfire, there's whatever. It's a lot of so even if you have internet, sometimes these challenges can still have no internet connection because of something happened somewhere in the bush, and so on. Okay. We have infrastructure gap in the region. Some institutions have good infrastructure, some do not have enough infrastructure. But what we do is sharing. For example, one institution may have maybe a bigger server. I'm not even talking about the GPU that South Africa is talking about, 100K GPU. No, we are talking about just a server. A whole institution does not have a server, just a normal server. You want to deploy some services, but you have to request a space from a server in another institution. We do it a lot in my country. So one institution is running a service from another institution. And this is just the things that are happening. These are the challenges that we have because of the gaps that we have to deal with every day, about the infrastructure, about the equipment, and so on. The whole thing here is financial constraints. Some institutions depend on government's financing, and some they sleep and dream that some grant will come or some assistance from somewhere will come. But many of the time, they are unsustainable because you may have a grant this year, and after 2 or 3 years, you have a gap of another 2 years to wait for another grant, and so on. And these are the challenges in this region. Okay, another challenge that we deal with every day is about policy and governance issues. Issues like regulatory barriers, data protection laws, and insufficient coordination among government agencies can impede the development and operations of NRENs. Okay, we know that most of us are giving these services for free. I mean not for free, but not for profit. Most of the NRENs are non-for-profit, not-for-profit organization. We are registered as non-for-profit. And therefore, sometimes eligible for tax exemption somehow. But when you go to the market, then some rival who is paying full tax say, okay, now your services are cheap because, or are more affordable because you're not paying tax. Then you find there's politics, politics come in. Sometimes, okay, now this is a fair ground. You have to pay tax as everybody's paying. So you can find most of our NRENs in the SADC still struggle with the tax issue. I'm still paying tax like any other commercial institution, and sometimes we share in the forum of NRENs. When one has some exemption, then we share the joy together because we know the pain of paying tax. Then we have a gain. But these are the issues that involve around the politics arena and the governance issues and different rules of in the regulatory arena as well. So it is difficult to share from one country to another because in one country the regulatory has its own rule which differs from another country. So those are the challenges that we face every day. Another thing is lack of awareness. Lack of awareness. Although we are giving very good services, but not as much as you can say that NRENs are very much known or very popular in this region. That's why sometimes you can ask, for example, I met a couple of friends here who are actually graduated from the university, and they say, where are you coming from? I say, I'm coming from Ternet, this is an NREN, and say, what is NREN? Okay, now I say easily, it's like Tenet in South Africa. I say, what is Tenet? Okay, I say, okay, now do you know Sandren? I say, okay, what is Sandren? I said, do you use internet? Yes. You use EdRoom? Yes, I use EdRoom. Now we provide, okay, now you are ISP. You see, this confusion is all over. Like, we have to still do some work, a little bit more work to make sure that NRENs are known as, as the roles and so on. These are the challenges. This is another challenge. Sometimes I visit a university or an institution trying to sell some products and say, now what are you doing? You are ISP. So you're ISP like so-and-so. I say, no, we are not like so-and-so. We are a unique entity that promotes education and research. But also, we provide internet. So we are not like any other ISP, but we promote education and research though we also provide internet and other related services. This challenge also is happening, rejection. One institution has resources but doesn't want to share with another one for some reasons. It happened also. So this is what we deal with every day, trying to bring awareness to the institutions that everything should be shared. And some of them would like to put some price tag. If you want to share my resources, then you have to pay something and so on. So that's a challenge. But we still have some opportunities, which is cross-border research initiatives that we can share research data across the countries within the region. And programs, collaborative programs, we can still have programs in one country shared to another country, because I don't see the difference, for example, in one side of Tanzania and another side of Tanzania, like 2,000 kilometers away, and sharing with my neighbor, Malawi, which is only a few hundred kilometers. So we can also have these challenges solved. Instead of everybody having his own curriculum, own resources, own causes, everything you have your need, all the professors, all whatever. Some of the causes can also be shared across. Okay, regional network for resource sharing. This map, I showed this one before, that regionally we can share. And also, there's a big partnership, and also the possibility of pooling resources, like financial resources, like grants, like together. For example, right now we're enjoying Africa Connect 3 project together as the whole region, but actually it's coming from Europe. So this collaboration makes easier for tapping financial resources. I finished by saying that another opportunity is digital. We build the digital hubs. Okay, I could say that every NREN is packed with a lot of skills and a lot of resources in terms of technology. And I've seen it many times that when an institution is looking for some skills, as a central place, they can come to us quickly, and we can also empower each other and so on. So this is my conclusion, that we are in this region, 16 countries. We have a role to play, we have challenges, we have opportunities, but we have to come together to solve all of them in the spirit of Ubuntu. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Seth. I'm just checking in the room whether we have questions, and Zalama, if you could assist with that. Do we have any questions, colleagues, for Dr. Seth? There's one here.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Maybe I did not get your question. You mentioned the challenges, okay? Yeah. How we can serve, how do we deal with the challenges? That's what you mean. Okay. Okay, yes, we have those challenges. Number one thing that we do is to make sure that we run an NREN as a business. Though it's non-for-profit, but it has to be business-minded because it has to run itself, self-running kind of the thing. That's how we sustain ourselves. That is number one. Number two, we do advocacy, like engaging with the government, engaging with sometimes using ministers or going to the ministry or different agencies and so on. That's how we do it.
Last one from me. With all the technology that is coming, the emerging technology like your 5G, your AI, your Internet of Things, and etc. How can an adapt to that? I mean, with regards to getting to better the education and the research in the community?
Okay. Yes, I agree that technology is changing very fast. And regionally, through Ubuntu Alliance, and sometimes they say twinning programs, NRENs and NRENs from either within the Africa or outside the Africa, we collaborate, we work together. Like, you know, we meet every time, or somehow engineers from one NREN can go to another NREN in Europe, and, you know, so that we update each other. Yeah, yes.
Are there any other questions, colleagues? Unfortunately.